Today we're going to be painting this rainbow dot mandala mini canvas, and this is a 4x4 canvas. I would actually suggest going up to a 6x6 if you have one handy, just because it'll give you a nice little frame around this design. I end up running the design all the way to the edge. So to start this one off, I am just marking some guidelines. I just did the corner to corner to give me my center dot, and then I am doing every 2 inches and marking that so I can get some more lines for my grid. Next, I used a compass to mark a circle to kind of give me a guideline of where I want to make sure the center part ends. I had this idea of doing like a rainbow starting with purple, moving to red, and I want to make sure it ends before I get to that line. So for this first dot, I am just loading it up with a lot of extra paint. I don't let the tool touch after that first time. So that helps build up the dot without deforming the dot or making it larger. And then I ended up using the small end of this pink dotting tool and placed a dot on each of the lines. I have a list below of the tools that I am using. You can get most of them off of Amazon, and I have the link down below, but you can get them other places as well, but at least gives you an idea of what I am actually using in the video. So here I decided to use the same side of the dotting tool, the small end of the pink, to do the blue dots. And this time I am putting the dot in the space between the dots of the previous row, which ends up being off of the line of my grid. So I have this little needle tool that I use to kind of just drag the dot into that space, kind of creating a tear dot shape. You can also use like any type of sewing needle or anything like that to do this as well. You don't need that specific tool, but any type of needle can do that. You can also skip that step and just place another purple dot in that spot if you would like. So next I ended up going up a tool size for the green, and I picked a tool size that would allow me to place a dot really nice in that space above the purple dot and in between the 2 blue ones. And that's how I kind of pick my tool sizes. So for this yellow one, I went up another size, and I just picked the size that would just kind of fit that space. So if you need to pick a larger or smaller size, feel free to do so. In this design though, if you are using a 4x4 canvas, I wouldn't go any larger on any of the tools, or you are not going to make it fit, because I barely made this one fit. So next for the orange, again, I went up a size. I'm just paying really close attention to my spacing, making sure that I'm going to have enough room to finish this design before I get to that circle that I drew, because I knew that circle was going to be cutting it close. So for the red dots, I did the same thing, just making sure to put them neatly in this space. And then that left me just enough room to go back and put the purple dots in between there. And I made sure to leave space with my purple dots. I didn't want it to touch the red dots because I'm going to do some walking the dots next, and then want to be able to go around that dot all the way to the orange. So I picked a size that would kind of fill in that space, but leave me enough room to be able to walk the dots going around. And with these, you can see that I'm adding some extra paint to them. That's just gonna make them nice and rounded. With this design, I'm not adding top dots. It's actually a custom order. They want to add some crystals to the top of them, so I'm intentionally not adding top dots to this design. So next, I just use a small end of the pink tool to make some dots, and this is a different tool than the needle that I have. This one actually has like a little stylus at the end of it, kind of like a dotting tool, but it's really small, and I'm using that to make really tiny dots. And one of the reasons why is because I was trying to make sure I had enough room to do the entire rainbow around this purple dot. So the idea was to start with purple and slowly move my way out to red, so when it's done and you're looking at it, it's going to actually look like a rainbow going around that big purple dot. So I had to make sure I kept my tool sizes small this entire time, which then made me keep all my dots small. So you can feel free to use, if you use a larger canvas, feel free to use larger sizes. But this one will be good practice for you if you want to try to practice making smaller dots. Just take your time with it, go slowly. Even this video is sped up, so this is 2 times speed. Just take your time with this and don't worry exactly about how many dots I'm placing around. You just do whatever you need to do to fill the space. So next up is green, and the same thing. I'm still using the same size dotting tools, but I did switch over to using the big end of the pink for the first dot and then the small end for the rest, just slowly working them around. I do find it easier sometimes when I get into these patterns to do one side, like I do all of the right side and then I come back to do the left side. Sometimes I just find that easier, especially on canvases and stuff. I kind of get in a zone where I have my spacing and kind of like muscle memory built up for doing that one side. So I just kind of keep the momentum going to kind of help each petal to look the same. It makes me have to spin my canvas more, but I find that for me, I usually have a better result by doing that. Here, I was able to take this yellow all the way to the red, and this was my last round that I could make it all the way to the red. If you get to this point beforehand, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Just walk them down as far as you can, and then just try to have them meet up really nicely. So I kind of look at each side and try to make it where visually it just looks right when they meet up, because you don't want a really big dot on one side and then a really small dot on the other side, because it will start to kind of look a little lopsided. So just kind of pay attention to your spacing and your dot size when you're walking around, and it will give you a really nice look. You can see also when I start to do the smaller dots, I still make sure to leave space there. I don't bring the dots super close to each other. This is what gives it more depth for this particular piece. If you're enjoying this tutorial, please hit subscribe and share it with any friends who you think would really enjoy my channel. I also have a video posted on how I mix my paints for my rainbows. That video has already been up, and there's 4 other beginner canvases in rainbow colors posted. So here you can kind of see I'm getting really close to that edge. I really didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but I really wanted to do the full rainbow on the top, which is why I said if you go up to a 6x6 canvas, it'll give you a nice border around this one, where I did not allow myself to have that. But that's just part of it. I just knew I wanted to finish this rainbow off, and I ended up having just enough room to do so. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Please share with any friends that you think would enjoy painting this one. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll be having another rainbow tutorial coming soon. Thanks a lot, guys.